Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my two fellows, Vicky and Lillian. Actually, today I am not the host. So let's give it to Lillian.
Good evening.
And before we give it to Lillian, I would like to show my gratitude to Dr. Moby and Lillian. Lillian is the 15-year radio veteran. She's one of the giants of the industry in the radio world. It's such an honor to have her, and definitely such an honor again to have Dr. Moby being consistently one of the main pillars of the podcast world. He's always there for us. And he's number one in the podcast world in the States of about 6 million podcasters. So it's such a great honor to have both Dr. Moby and Lillian. So today I'm going to give the floor to Lillian. Because today's the inaugural interview, the inaugural show for our Try collaboration for Heroes of Our Time, where Dr. Moby is very kind to contribute his song as the theme song for this year-long series. The series Heroes of Our Time is to pay a tribute to all these people in the front line fighting for us in the world. And because we don't hear them, don't see them, they're working so religiously, routinely as a regiment in the front line. We don't see them. They don't want to be celebrities. They just want everyone to be safe. And I would like to show my great gratitude to all these healthcare providers at the front line, no matter where you are in the US, in the States, in America, in Singapore, in Africa, in Europe, in Asia, everywhere, in every part of the world, even down under in Australia. We give our salute to all these healthcare providers out there. And there is a quote that I would like to start off for this inaugural series with Dr. Moby, is that Franklin Graham, in his sermon, he did say, when the world runs away and flee away from the virus, the healthcare providers run towards it. So
Wow.
that sums up
Very nice.
in totality the immense work the healthcare providers are doing for us. So salute once again, Dr. Moby, and all these people behind you, with your colleagues, co-colleagues, co-workers from top to bottom in a hospital, at the workplace, at the testing centers. A great salute to them for them running toward the virus and trying to close down the virus. So again, salute. It is a tremendous time in the history of mankind. We must not forget we are safe at home, and we don't want to be out there to exchange our work. So with this litmus test, I tell myself, there's no complaint. We give our thanks to the workers out there for whatever regulations, safety, precaution, wearing the mask, sanitizing, just keeping ourselves safe really is a tribute to the healthcare workers. Thank you so much, Dr. Moby, for your work and your colleagues out there. I'd like to give the floor to Lillian. Thank you, Lillian.
Oh, you're welcome. I think people forget that in addition to the Hippocratic Oath that many physicians, actually all physicians take, their number one criteria is to save lives at all costs. And it's very difficult for them to do that and at the same time have somebody from a mayor or a governor say, we're running out of room, we're running out of equipment, we want you to play God. We want you to decide which patients are worth saving and which patients we're going to let go. And I can't imagine a crueler punishment to make a doctor or a practical nurse or anyone involved in the healthcare industry to start being judge, jury, and executioner, because life is precious to the healthcare community. And I know from firsthand that this is true. When my husband was with pneumonia and a blood infection, his doctor would have kept on keeping him alive indefinitely if I had given him permission to do so, but I did not after the third try because I knew it was a moot point. And somebody has to make the decision to let that person die in dignity. But it's something entirely else when you have to decide which one dies and which one remains alive. And I think that our host system, our health system, is doing an excellent job in using the equipment and the supplies that they have. Because when this pandemic started, there was nothing out there for them. There were no masks, there were no plastic shields. From what my primary told me, there were not enough gowns to go around. They were using ponchos. They were reusing masks not once or twice, ladies and gentlemen, but 3 or 4 times. And they weren't wearing just one mask, they were wearing 2 or 3 masks at a time because after a while, the ones that they kept on wearing were used up. But they did this and they did it without complaining, without writing to their senator or congressman. And they just went forward with what they were trained to do. So, good evening, Dr. Moby. And when the pandemic first started, were you prepared in any way to handle the crisis that followed?
Well, thank you for both of you appreciating the, frontliners. And, I'm a part of the team, of course, and I was honored. I feel greatly honored, whenever being, of course, I have practiced medicine 20 plus years. I've been emergency room physician. I've been hospitalist, ICU. I've run even delivered babies, over the years. Now I do, of course, a lot of media and a lot of education because I feel that, with my experience and with my, work, I like to educate people first and kind of help them to understand what healthcare should be or is, and that is very important. But looking at this pandemic, I when we were watching, Wuhan, there was, I think I remember in last year or so, in October or so, and then people here would say, "Oh, that is that part of the world," and they were not thinking, big in terms of nowadays world is such a compact place. So don't ever think that place is Wuhan or any other part in the world has a pandemic or any disease is not going to affect us. That is not going to happen nowadays. With planes and everything, disease can spread like this. Okay, and that is, we have to face the new reality. Reality is world is more closer than ever. Look at right now, Vicky is from Singapore and you are in Pennsylvania, I'm in Virginia, and we are having this discussion. Imagine, could we do that few years back? Absolutely not. So the world has really changed, and same thing. Unfortunately, we thought that part of the world is never going to affect it. Guess what happened? Everybody got sick in Europe, first Italy and Europe, and then they thought that's not going to affect us. They started blaming on China, and then guess that virus which came here was from Europe, because they didn't pay attention to that, saying that, oh, let's shut the flight from China. Well, guess what happened? It doesn't matter why to virus. It does not matter. You are from China. You are from whichever part of the world. It's going to infect all of us, whether we are black, white, or. It's sad thing is that yes, some minorities will do worse, and some will they have health issues and they will do worse. That's true. But I had a feeling back at that time that is going to really drastically change. So I asked my hospital everything. I said, well, do you need extra shifts, and we'll cover. And they said, we'll let you know, if you need, just be around, cancel. So I canceled all my plans, everything, because I knew that it's gonna be bad. Okay, and I still have feeling. So over there, so we started, and I remember all of a sudden everything started shutting down, December, January. And I went to the restaurant. I go there, and there was only one worker. There, literally one worker. There, everybody left. Everybody called off sick, and even they were not sick, but just said, "No, we are not coming." So the shops were empty. The restaurants were empty. There was nobody, pretty much. And I went, I asked this guy. I said, "Well, you've been working. I've seen you for 2, 3 weeks now, and you're working, not going home." He says, doc, everybody left. What I'm supposed to do? People need to eat, and I thought I'm gonna continue working 3 weeks in a row. I said, yeah, you know what? You are a bigger hero than I am. Anything. I mean, I cannot imagine you continuous working from 3+ weeks, not going home, not even thinking that you might get COVID too, and you can die too. So there are so many stories which make us strong, which make us learn from them. So and I said, kudos to you. You know what? I will keep coming just for you. I'm going to keep coming. I'll be maybe one of your 10 customers who will be here, and I will keep buying things from you. So at least your employer doesn't shut you down, because they can close the shop. So, and he said, well, thank you. But that's what was needed. And I still think that it is very sad. We lost a lot of lives, and I'm really, really paying tribute to all. And I feel so sad inside out. My parents also got COVID, and everybody, we were on the edge. Luckily everything went fine with that, but we had very painful moments, very, very painful. At that time, I had to, of course, my parents were in Pakistan. I had to take care remotely, make sure they were okay, and then still take care of patients here. And then, that was a very difficult time, as you can imagine. So, and on top of that, you have to make sure you don't catch yourself, something, or get sick. So those are very, very important things to. It's been, of course, journey with a lot of work, but I think what makes us all kind of strong and learn is these examples. The frontliner I told you, and then I wrote, actually. I didn't want to say. One night I was on call, feeling so sad because we kind of ran few codes, and nobody survived. At that, I think was more of trauma than COVID, but there were a lot of people with COVID outside. And that kind of, it was really down, very sad and down with that whole notion, because for us to see physician, anybody passing away, it's a very sad feeling, because, we try to save life always. So, but, we have seen, of course, many people dying, but every death brings such a sadness to us. We are humans, we are not robots. um, so that kind of prompted me to write a song. And exactly, I was on call, and then, yeah, it's interesting, I wrote that in 1 hour. Yeah. So it's just because there was so much to tell and say. And I said, okay, so of course I gave somebody to edit it, but I shot some of the scenes there from the hospital, if you see the video. And it was just, all we can say is, then when I was walking back the hallway, I asked, and I thought, I again thought, and this person who was cleaning, and he was such a gentle soul, such a nice person. And I talked to him. I said, oh, how are you doing? So he told me, and I said, same thing. He's been working long shifts, many, many shifts. A lot of people called off. A lot of people, they don't have Everybody, you are absolutely right. Everybody took oaths, but a lot of people who are not very honest on that, you know, they will come back when they see, when they get, when they want to get the paycheck. But sad, but that's true, you know. But there are always people who would just say, okay, that's fine. Yes, getting paid is one thing, but it's our honesty, it's our integrity, it's our, you know, how we, that's how it defines us. So that's what exactly happened. So I was really humbled, and also kind of made me think that you know, there are so many great examples, and that's why I have him in the video pictures. And you know, because I wanted to honor him, I wanted to, you know, I said how many, and this guy, of course, cleans the hallway. You know how important a job is that.
Yeah.
Cleaning the bed, cleaning the every patient who goes there, he or she cleans that bed and takes out the garbage. And those patients could be, of course, all COVID. And then, it is such a important topic. And but I don't know, money can tank that. That's like beyond me. I mean, I'm like overwhelmed with that feeling that people have such a great integrity, that they really don't care about just their lives.
Well, I
Well, I
think
think
that
that
people. Go ahead. Go ahead, Vicky.
Because
Go ahead, Vicky.
yeah.
no, no, she said,
Dr. Moby, I think we have forgotten that, like what you say, the people who are actually the pillars and the backbone of the whole infrastructure. We're talking about the infrastructure, the logistical setup from cradle to grave, from alpha to omega, the whole frontline people. And we sometimes, like what you say, we forget about these cleaners because they are the one that keep everyone safe because they need to keep sanitizing, disinfecting the place,
yeah,
and they are the one that we must not forget that they are the one who are keeping us safe in the
yeah,
hospitals, at the swab centers, the testing centers, at the clinics. And these are the people who are paid the lowest and the lowest hierarchical ranks. And a
yeah,
lot of times, these people who are actually at the foundation of it, we forget about them. And they ask for so little. And
yeah,
but
yeah,
yet they play such a huge role.
yeah.
Dr.
And
Moby, and thank you for your sensitive soul. I would like to bring the conversation to your song. The lyrics actually spoke. It's like a poetry. I would like you to explain how did this creative process. You said that you actually did this in an hour. It must have been such a creative process, and you are a doctor. You are using your left brain and your right brain, right? Because it's such a creative, artistic process in writing a song, coming up with the music and then with the lyrics. Could you tell us how did this creative process go?
okay. And this is very interesting that I am, of course, practicing medicine for so many years, and
Yeah.
now I'm doing media and writing. My book is out first, and then this media, and now I'm doing so many shows, podcasting, and of course started with podcasting videos. I did movie, and also did a song. Now it is very interesting that things in this part of my life are happening which I never ever thought it would be in my strength anyways. Not even strength, but even interest. Okay, I mean, I love music. I mean, don't take me wrong, but I love music. I'm into songwriting. No, never did that before. But this COVID kind of just kind of brought, it can bring best out of you for some reason. Actually, I when we were short in ventilators, I did design a portable ventilator. Okay, So I filed the with the copyright and so forth. I did a demo, and it was a low cost ventilator system for my country when they really needed ventilators, and I thought I could help that. But I didn't pursue that. I did kind of all the demo, and I sent them. But in the end, they luckily the need for ventilator went down, and everything was fine. But I mean, who would think that I would sit and design that? I mean, I'm doctor, not engineer, So, but this is what COVID did to us. It kind of tapped those abilities in us, which we never thought we would do that. Same starts for songwriting. I was kind of so much, touched by his work, and it was just, I think, 2 o'clock at night. It wasn't even daytime. Okay, the 2 o'clock at night when we were having this conversation, and I'm tired, of course, all night working, and it just touched that part of your brain and heart that kind of brought that. And I thought, what should I say? And then everything, I said, well, exactly how my call started, and what conversation we had, and how did it go back. And that's all it is exactly that night scenario, and just simple words. I did not need to invent anything. I just wrote that, and I had this amazing composer too, and he, of course, said, "What kind of music?" I said, "There should be sad kind of tones," and I gave examples. So then we came up with music, but this was kind of unbelievable, unbelievable. After that, I saw how the everything came out, and then we shot the video. Video, I did 4 takes. I should say that, because I did that, but my wife said, "Oh, the dress up you're using is not very appropriate." So she corrected me with the dress. She said, "No, those dress are just wear black. You don't need to wear anything fancy." So I said, "Yeah, that's true." She corrected me that, but I did probably 2 takes on that, and everything. Um, it was just unbelievable. So I mean, I did it for to honor. I mean, I did it to honor those worker. Um, I mean, it's not done to be number one or anything, but I know a lot of people loved it, and my hospital employees and everybody, they loved it, and my co-worker, everybody, they said, "We did not know you can write music." And I said, I did not sing, I'm lip singing in that. And I said, "That's not my voice." And but I said, I did the video to promote it, because that's how the whole story. But it's amazing, things happen when you are touched in certain way, and you let your expression. That's amazing. I mean, I think it's, to me, I don't have even I don't know how it happened.
Yeah, Dr. Moby, lyrics or a song is like an artist, right? It's like a poetry. It has to come from the soul. It
Yeah.
is an honest reflection of what goes on in the mind, in the heart, in the soul that comes out in the form of a lyrics. So I think the lyrics really, even though it's short, but it's so relatable, and it goes to the heart core of the situation, like what you said. You breaks your heart, and you hope that people took more precaution, that they should wear their mask, and you talked about in the lyrics, people were so sad. They did not have to say, they hope that they did not have to say the last goodbye. And
Yeah.
I thought that was so deep. And because you are a doctor, have seen those parting times, I want to ask you, Dr. Moby, just to take up a little bit more time, bonus time from you. Um, were there once or twice in this period of pandemic, while you were in your shift, as you come across such heart-wrenching situation, you kind of like stopped and feel that it needs to take the extra strength out of you. It is something that you've never seen. It is hard to go on. Did you have that kind of a point in your professional encounter?
Yeah, and that is true. If you ask me, it happens every time we are on call or I'm working. We have cases. Everybody is precious and everybody is unique, and there are very sad situations happen, and it breaks us. And I don't know. I can't imagine if I look back and I said, how did I get strength to go on? um, I I don't know, but I think these are people. I think when you put your heart and your soul in something, there are higher powers. Whether you believe in God or whatever, there are higher powers that guide you, and if they want good, you keep on doing that good. They will give you that power. Will give you more power to continue. If I think back, I could have. Uh, there was no reason for me to continue physically, but spiritually, I get a guidance. That's what makes unbelievable. In if I look back, I cannot understand how would I continue. I would have continued, but I know there is higher power. Somebody is looking above me. Somebody wants me to continue serving people and save life. So that gives strength, and makes me make the correct decision or save somebody's lives. Remember, it's very important that you cannot cloud your decisions. We get emotional as any human being would be, and I would be too. But I know that I have to think beyond my emotions because somebody's life could be at stake of making wrong decision, right? So I never let that cloud that, because for me that is more important than my emotions. So that is why I keep going.
Yeah. And one final question for me before I give to Lillian another chance to interview Dr. Moby before he goes. Um, Dr. Moby, if it's not too personal, could you share with us? You did mention about your parents, your family members were tested positive. Even in any circumstances for us, if anything happened to our family, it really creates this anxiety, this whole host of emotions that is really unseen, especially now. uh, it is in the situation of the pandemic, and it is your parents who were tested, and there's still so much unknown about this virus that is evolving and evolving. Could you share with us how did your family come together um, to plow through and push through those very difficult times, which I think that it's kind of undescribable in words.
Okay. Yeah, I think this is same thing. I can tell that when this was happening with my family, yeah, they were in Pakistan, and over there the problem is medications, hospitalization. Everything is not as great as in US. Okay, and there was a time when my dad refused treatment. uh,
Oh,
and he said, my mom, they had no problem, but my dad said, no, I'm not going. Ambulance came and he said he would not go, and that was very difficult. So because he said, no, I'm not going. And being a doctor, I knew that his life is at risk, right? And then you have a patient who is non-compliant, totally does not listen, and then you had to make a decision. And then I said, no, you are going that. And he would not listen. So finally, we got that. And worst thing was, even when there, doctors over there, they were not taking very good care. So they would say, especially if they know the patient is not listening, they would say, okay, let them then die, you know. So that is worse, right? And then on top of that, we didn't have medication. So I had to get medication literally about 36. I had to send somebody. Somehow prayers were answered. I found a friend who drove 36 hours carrying the medication, because the medication had to be given within certain time window. Okay, otherwise it would be wasted, because the more time you waste, the virus gets upper hand, and then your body does not even respond. So that time, imagine 36 hours, this person driving from one end of the country on a car, because the airplanes, everything is shut down. And I had to get the medication in black, paying cash. We got that medication, was put in freezer, and he drove, this guy, God bless him, drove 36 hours and then delivered the medication on time. He got that medication, got better. It's just miracle. I don't know. I don't even have words. I don't know how I found it, but it was supposed to. That's called destiny. That's called blessing. There is no calculation about it. There's nothing. I mean, there are so many steps could have gone wrong, right? So, but everything comes. So you keep fighting, and good things happen. Just pray and believe in miracles. Good things happen. Same thing for everyone too. Keep a hard work, keep saving lives. Good things will happen, believe me. And that's what gives me strength. If I look back, I'll say, oh my God, I don't know how this happened, that happened. There was no way I would have known that medication is available 36 hours. There's no planning. There is nothing to be planned about. But because I had this, like I said, I am spiritual person. I believe there is higher power, and then if you are really good at heart and you believe, good things will happen, and not only to everyone. And if it doesn't and does happen, then we lose sometimes patience, and you know we are at least at peace that we have done best we can for someone, right?
Thank you, Dr. Moby, for that very heart-wrenching and heart-stopping event that you have described. It's such a, I should say, it is really out of the world. And how do the children feel when that happens? Lillian, would you like to give a bonus question to Dr. Moby?
Sure. I know a lot of people, or at least here in the States. I'm not sure what's going. I know it's going over in England because I have friends over in England,
Mm,
and they're in pretty bad shape over there.
mm,
They have lack of equipment, and getting into the hospital apparently is pretty difficult to do unless you're at death's door. So what I would like to know is, with the vaccination, and there are two types now being offered in the United States,
mhm.
is there really a difference between the two of them, or is it pretty much equally the same? Because I know people say, well, which one did you get? Well, quite frankly, I was given a vaccination. I'm in the 65 plus, but they won't give us our medical cards until we get our second inoculation. So I have no idea. But apparently, it seems to be a big deal over here, where I presume over in Europe, they'd be delighted if they just had a vaccination to be given to the general populace at all.
Mm. And that is a lot of people ask me that question, which vaccine is better? I say, well, get whichever you can, first of all, get whichever. And if you can, don't worry about, remember, vaccine is never 100%. So one thing never do is party after vaccine. Okay. So the party, so vaccine is never 100%. You still have to continue doing your distance and also your mask. do not let your guard down, and one more thing which I practice also, because I see patient all the time, is put salt water drops in the nose and maybe gargle that, and that does save, in my opinion. It helps us because the virus is going to enter through nose and mouth first. Sorry, nose, mostly nose and eyes. So those going, if you can do salt water drops, is very simple. Do that. And also, the vaccine, both are, so these are percentages. One is 94%, other 95%. There's not a big difference. And then the other could be 66%. But still, even if you get 66%, it will still save getting the worst disease. Okay. So if it's any vaccine which is approved, get it. Sad thing, there are a lot of controversy and lack of education or encouragement by media. And then there was some speculation. We don't have even time now. If we lose time and we don't get vaccine, this virus is going to mutate further, and whatever thing we have left is going to be gone. So do not second guess, just get it. I see a lot of misinformation out there, and
Yes.
and I don't understand. That's why I think we should do better job in media, because to counter that, there are so many controversial things out there, which are totally wrong. And being in healthcare provider, I know that when they're sick, and then they have, very few things, then there's not much anyone can do. Don't get sick. Do not. I tell, it doesn't matter, you are in perfect health, do not get sick, and do not test this virus. Okay, this virus can really kill someone. Okay, it doesn't matter how healthy you are. Be careful. It is no game. It is not a joke. And it is, whoever thinks it's a joke, or don't ever get sick for any disease. Forget this virus. But you should be healthy, enjoying, and you know just be careful. Just this common sense. That's all.
It reminds me very much of when they came out with the vaccination for polio. And
Yeah.
it was in the 50s. And they had no idea whether or not the vaccination would even work. We got it in sugar cubes. I mean, we were the first generation to get polio vaccinations.
Hmm.
And at that time, parents did not dispute whether or not their kids should get the vaccination. They had them lined up for miles because polio was a nasty disease. It robbed you of practically everything,
I
or
know.
put you in, so I don't understand why people do not, or at least the parents or grandparents don't remember that and say to their kids, why take a chance?
Yeah, white.
Why tempt province?
And I was reading one of for the polio, somebody had this polio, and it affected all the parts of the lower limb, and this person is in iron lung for last 40 years. And this person has such a dedication and a courage that graduated, read all and can only move his tongue. This person became attorney, and it still says, no, I'm going to live my still life, can only move up till here. Everything is paralyzed because of polio. you know it's just unbelievable. Life is very precious. Enjoy while you can, but there is no time to play games here.
Absolutely not. I was just curious because I know that I live in a senior community center. I'm the baby of the facility at
Oh,
70.
so
Everybody else is 90 and 100, of course. And they have absolutely no fear of COVID. I mean, they take care of themselves. They don't tempt fate. They wear their masks. They stay 6 feet apart, but they have absolutely no fear. And I think it's because they already met their fear during World War II and the aftermath of World War II and what they went through there, and because they did go through some of the other pandemics that have raged either in the States or more especially over in Europe. But I find it very interesting that the seniors don't consider, they consider themselves at risk, but they're not fearful the way a lot of the other population is. And I find that very interesting.
Yeah, and I think even that's good not to be fearful. I mean, I don't want anybody to be afraid, but be careful. Okay, so there's the difference between afraid and being smart. Just be
Right.
smart about it. Okay, even if you don't get shot, I don't recommend that. But if you do that, still you should wear mask. You do not try to get this near this virus. So uh, can the mask, and if you do social distancing, I should just say physical distance. If social distancing, probably I don't like the word, because you can still communicate, and that's probably there's nothing wrong with that. But this with the mask and with physical distance, the efficacy is 90+%, okay, of not getting COVID. Best vaccine is 95%. So it is very equivalent actually. So, can you beat the disease by just vaccine? No. Do you have to combine with both? Yes. Can you should you refuse vaccine? I don't recommend that, because since you have vaccine available, get it. Why you want to have lesser weapon against this virus? When but still comes down to basic things: vaccine, distancing, keep your hands clean, you'll be fine. Okay, this is not an airborne virus, thankfully. We can prevent it in that aspect. So I think keep working, and which is, I think everybody will be safe.
I agree. And they notice that the flu is down too, because everybody's wearing masks, which should
Yeah,
tell you something right there if you're
yeah,
paying
right.
attention.
Yeah, and isn't that fascinating? That
Yes.
all the vaccination efforts we have in US ever, they maximally produce 50-60% efficacy or prevention. Okay, single most thing which helped this season is that distance, cleaning, washing, cleaning hands, and mask. Flu is down, it's hardly 10%. So guess what it tells? We should do this practice more, and then we don't have. This is common sense, right? It's just so if we do that, imagine how many less disease we'll have.
Yes, but then you have to have everybody fall in with the plan.
Yeah, that is, in Israel, because of vaccination, they are seeing the fruits. They are seeing now, it's, I think, the only nation where there's a maximum vaccination success, and they're already seeing the results, really good results. So it kind of, Vicky, did you get your shot yet?
All right, just to report to Dr. Moby and Lillian, Singapore is rolling out. I would say that the speed is not as fast as many countries like the US. I think in the US it's already in its millions. So Singapore is about still in the hundred thousands. It's rolling out. The way it rolls out is by employment nature. First, people who got it, of course, they are the older folks, and then it is the airline industry workers who gets it, and then it's rolling out at people at the ports, the harbor, because Singapore is an international trading
It's water.
place. So we don't really shut the border down, because people do have to. It's like an essential worker itself, Singapore, because you do have to make transportation throughout the world, food, oil, and it still has to pass through the world. A lot of essential workers are out there that we do not see. So Singapore is actually an important essential part. So the way it rolls out vaccination is about the sector of industry.
It's a
So
port
then you have
city.
the airport, and then you've got the workers at the port, and then you've got different industries that is rolling out, like the construction workers, etc. So it's doing out a little bit different in terms of strategy, and in terms of people who are wanting to receive or not wanting to receive. I think at the end, there are a lot of doubts amongst the people. Um, I think like the news has said is a double-edged sword, because Singapore is quite successful in getting the numbers down. It's actually for the last couple of weeks, it reported cases is zero amongst the community. And because it is so successful in terms of controlling the situation, I think there is a population that think that, hey, we do not really need the vaccines because we are so good at it, in controlling it, in social distancing, wearing the mask, and keeping ourselves vigilant, and contact tracing, quarantine the cases, and keeping the border of these cases kept. So there is a population who thinks that we are really doing a good job, so we don't really have to get ourselves vaccinated. So there is that kind of mentality. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
They have that over here. They're expecting to have everybody vaccinated at least with the first dose by summer. It's summer. But you're always going to have these people that have this trouble with the school kids. Well, everybody else is inoculated, so my kid will be safe. He won't have to be inoculated. And you just don't, that is such medieval thinking to expose their child. They're not exposing themselves to it, but they're exposing their child. If you want to throw away your life, please go right ahead. But you do not have the right to expose your child to a deadly disease.
And then expose 10 other people. It's
And then
not,
expose it. Yes.
and the problem is not them. The problem is they're going to have everybody has family, parents, and somebody who is not as strong immune response as other. You know how my parents got is from grandkid. So grandkid didn't have fever, high fever, gave hug to grandpa. Guess what? Grandpa got.
Grandpa got
So,
sick. Yes.
so the
Yes.
grandpa ended up in ICU, but he didn't. So, but that's a problem. So this is exactly the problem.
infections.
Everybody has in their family somebody whose immune system is not going to be as perfect as somebody else, and that's what we have to look after, not yourself only, but also for others.
Absolutely. In my grandson's first grade class, more than half the class at any given time is out with COVID. Why? Because the parents are not being vigilant about keeping their kids away from other kids by 6 feet. They wear the mask, but they don't keep them apart. And if you don't do everything that is required of you to do, that it cannot just act on the one thing that you do to prevent it. You have to do the whole enchilada, or it's not going to work.
Yes. Thank you for coming. It was a pleasure. And so we are almost to the end of our show.
Yeah. I would like to thank Dr. Moby and Lillian. I think we have got into a very a topic that is the topic of the mankind at this point. And what we do right now with the series, Dr. Moby and Lillian, I think it's so important because we are really documenting people's voices. And I see it's an endeavor as part of us to document dreams and hopes and fears and the situation that is really from the people, not really from the news. It's not from the politicians, what the government wants you to hear, but really from the people, what they are going through in this very, very extraordinary times in humanity. Thank you once again, Dr. Moby and Lillian. I would like to tell the viewers and the listeners for this year-long series 2021 Heroes of Our Times tribute to the healthcare providers. Tune in anytime, and we'd like to thank again Dr. Moby and Lillian, who are the contributors to this series.
Thank you very much.
As a salute to the healthcare providers as they are running towards the virus to shut it down for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Lillian. Thank you, Viki, for honoring. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Doctor.
Take care.
See you again, all of you. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.